Hello, good morning everyone. Good morning class. By the way, I would like to formally introduce myself. My name is, I am Jasmine Kim Zanyaza, a student intern from the College of Teacher Education taking up Bachelor of Secondary Education major in English. So for today, I'll be the one to facilitate or discuss the lesson in your English 2 subject. Alright. Okay, to begin with our discussion, let's first have our activity. So the activity is called a billwork activity. And for the billwork activity, I'll be showing series of photos, and I want you class to describe each. Alright, let's start. So in the first slide, what can you observe or what can you see from the slideshow? Okay, so if you have guessed that a man just graduated from his college education, then you are correct. And in the second picture, you've guessed that he is in need to find a job, then you are also right. Okay, for the next slide, what do you have observed or what can you see? Okay, right, so in the second slide, the person is somehow looking or seeking for a job hiring announcement in the computer. Right, then for the next slide, is that after learning the job hiring information, the person immediately complies the requirements needed and then after which the person went to the company. Okay, right, so what do you think will happen next? Okay, let's see. So for the next slide, you can see there that he is in the company already and next to be interviewed by the employer. And then what can you guess or what can you foresee the next event in the next slide? Okay, so for the next slide, based from the photo we can see here in the slides, the employer keenly reviewed or checked the background information of the applicant. And I think the employer right there is seeking or determining who among the applicants is fit for the job, right? Okay, so for the next slide, we can see here that the chosen applicant got hired for the job, right? Okay, so what do you think? Or what would you feel if you get hired for the job you're applying for? Of course, you'll be in cloud 9, you feel the happiness. Okay, so that's for our billwork activity. Alright, class. Will you able to create a story based from the photos shown in the slides? Yes, right? So let me ask you, what do you think is the connection of the activity to our discussion for today? So according from the slides shown, there are several steps or requirements before you'll be able to get hired from the company you are applying for. And for today's discussion, this will be a great help for you, especially in meeting the requirements in applying for a job. Okay, so our lesson for today is about writing a job application letter. Before we formally dig deeper what is a job application letter, let's first have our lesson's objective. So by the end of the lesson, students will be able to first identify the different parts, formats, and mechanics of an effective job application letter. Second is that you will be able to observe the considerations and tips in writing a job application letter. And lastly, you'll write an effective job application letter. So what is a job application letter, everyone? Job application letter is also known as a cover letter. It is a document sent with your resume to provide additional information about your skills and experience to an employer. So, job application letter is intended to provide detailed information on why you are qualified for the job. So, the purpose of why you are writing your application letter, it is to introduce yourself to an employer and provide a brief overview of your work history, professional skills, and an explanation why you are best fit for the job. You should always remember that job application letter is a detailed information why you are a qualified candidate for the job. In a job application letter, we have different parts. We have 10 parts, which are the letterhead, dateline, inside address, salutation, introduction, body, conclusion, complementary close, signature, and signature block. So let's first start with the letterhead. So heading, or at the top of a sheet of your letter, are also called the stationery. It usually consists of the name of the sender, the address or logo, or corporate design, and then your contact details or your contact informations, your contact number and your email. Next one is the dateline. So dateline simply means the date that you'll walk in to apply. So remember that it has the dateline, or the date must be the same date that you'll walk in to apply, or the same date as when you emailed your application documents to your prospective employer. You should always put into mind that you should use present date when you're going to apply. Do not put date that is beyond the date you're applying, because it is very informal. And then let's proceed with the next one, the inside address. So the inside address is the receiver's address. So it includes the name of the person you're writing to, followed by the person's home address, or by the person's business title, the department if applicable, the company name, and the company address. Like for this example, we have here Mr. Romel Gracia, the name of the receiver, a manager, the position, human resource department, the business title, and then the Master Chef Corporation, which is the company name, and then Ayala Avenue, Makati City, the company address. Next one is the salutation. So salutation is the greeting at the beginning of a cover letter. So in the salutation, you will always consider the gender of the receiver. So if the receiver is a man, you will indicate, like for this example, dear Mr. John. So if the gender of the receiver is a woman, you will indicate Miss. And then if you don't really know what is the gender, you could use in the salutation, dear prospective employer, or you could use to whom it may concern. Next part is the introduction. So for the introduction, everyone, when you are going to write an application letter, the introduction, in the first sentences, you will introduce yourself, and then you could state your purpose why you're writing the job application letter, and then followed by your indication or your source of information in learning the job vacancy, and then add an interesting statement about yourself, or maybe you could show your enthusiasm to work in the company. So next part is the body. So the body of the letter, everyone, this is where you're going to present your work experiences, your academic qualifications, your trainings, and some personal qualities with specific evidences. So this is where you're going to showcase your capabilities, or this is where you're going to showcase your qualities qualities why you're best fit for the job. So when you're writing your body the body of your letter, you will always you should consider to organize your paragraphs accordingly. And then, like for this example, as you have seen, the sender here states her experiences, work experiences, her academic qualifications, and so on. Next part of the cover letter is the conclusion. So in the conclusion, everyone, it is where you're going to indicate your interest for an interview at the most convenient to the employer. Also, you could indicate how the interviewer can contact you, and you could express, or you should express, an expectation of a positive response from the employer. Like for this example, from the first sentence, as these details have shown, I carry a commitment to excellence and a passion to deliver results that can contribute to the company's vision mission. So this is where the sender summarized the information based from the introduction and the body of your letter, and then she adds or indicates a sentence that indicates interest for interview. Like for this example, you may refer to my resume for additional details regarding to my credentials. And should you have questions, please do not hesitate to contact me through the details provided above. And also, remember everyone, you should take note that when you write your conclusion, you should express an expectation of positive response for an employer, so that the employer can view you that you are eager and determined to be hired for the company's position. And lastly, you should thank the employer. For this example sentence, I look forward to hearing from you and meeting you. Thank you. Next part is the complementary close. So complementary close conventionally appears before the sender's signature or name at the end of the letter. So complementary close composed of a complementary close phrases like sincerely yours, respectfully yours truly, yours sincerely, and so on. So complementary close simply means the closing of your cover letter. Next one is the signature. So the signature simply means your sign or your signature. And then also everyone, if you're going to submit your application letter physically, you could use blue or white ink. You could sign your cover letter with blue or white ink. And then if you're emailing a cover letter with a signature, you don't need to sign the letter by hand. Instead, you can use electronic signature or the e-signature. Then the last part of the cover letter is the signature block. So a signature block is a text surrounding a signature that gives the signature context and provides additional information. So signature blocks often contain the name of the party or the name of the sender, and below the name of the sender is the title of the people. Like for this example, we have here Rian Chua, and below stated applicant. Okay, so that's the example of a signature block. So next we have cover letter. Next we have here an example we have here a clear example of the parts of a cover letter. So as you can see from the first part right here in the upper right, we have here the letterhead. The letterhead is the name, consists of the name of the the sender, and then the address, the contact informations, and your emails. Next one is the dateline, the date, the inside address, the inside address that consists of the name of the receiver, the position, the department or the business title if applicable, and then the company name and the company address. We also have here the salutation, the introduction, body, conclusion, and then the complementary close, the signature, and the signature block. So in writing your cover letter, everyone, we have different formats. So in our example right here, we have three formats: the full block, modified block, and the semi block. So in the full block format, everyone, all the elements of the letter are aligned to the left margin of the page. Starting from the letterhead down to the signature block are aligned to the left margin of the page. So in a full block format, it has a neat and simple appearance. The paragraphs are also separated by double line spaces. And then next one, we have here the modified block. So the difference between the modified block and the format is that in the modified block, the inside address and the date line, the inside, take note that the letterhead, the date line, the complementary close, signature, and signature block begins at the center right margin of the page, as you can see in the example. Next one, we have the semi-block. In the semi-block is similar to the modified block, but the only difference is that the paragraphs or the introduction, body, and conclusions are indented. It is also indented 5 spaces. All paragraphs are also separated by a double line space. Okay, we have here a clear view of an example of a full block format. As you can see, as you can observe, based from the photo right here, all the elements are aligned at the left margin. Next one, in the modified block. So the only difference between the semi-block and the block format is that the paragraphs in your cover letter are indented. So that's the three formats of a job application letter, which are the full block, modified block, and the semi-block. So when writing your cover letter, we have here the mechanics or the guidelines in writing a job application letter. So for the first one, you should always use, take note that you should always use letter-sized bond papers, which is a short bond papers, and then limit the letter to 1 or 2 pages. Next one is use 1 to 1.5 inch margins on all sides. For the font size, use at least 10 points and maximum of 12 points. For the color of your paper, you should always use white or off-white paper. So there are also other considerations in writing a job application letter. So for the layout and design, you will always follow a standard cover letter format. So take note, everyone, that when the employer requires a specific format, you should always follow the instruction, or you should always follow the requirement format of the employer. And then keep the cover to 1 page. You should limit your application letter to 1 page only, at least 1 page, and then set margins at 1 or 1 to 1.5 inch by all sides. And then you could use when you are writing a job application letter, use a simple and easy to read font styles like for example, Times New Roman, Courier, and Helvetica. So for the appropriate size for a cover letter is 1.5 inch by 11. And then for the content, focus on the employer's need for a worker rather than your need for a job. Also, you tell how your skills and your personal qualities match the employer's needs. Also, show that you have researched the company's background information. Double check that because it is a plus point, or it is a bonus if you know the background information of the company you're applying for. Focus on what you can do for the employer and how you can contribute to the organization. So for the error and prevention, follow the instructions in the employment ads or the recruitment directions, like I said earlier. And then proofread, everyone. Look for spelling and formatting errors, like look for grammars, for the spelling, and so on. Make sure that the recipient's names, the company name, and title are correctly spelled in the letter and on the envelope. Also, when you're going to sign your cover letter, use blue or black ink. And lastly, for the paper and printing, use white or ivory bond paper printed on one side only. And then use the same paper for your resume, cover letter, and envelopes if possible. Lastly, make sure that there are no shadowing marks or dirty marks from your printer on your paper. So I guess that's the end of our discussion. If you have any questions or clarifications from today's discussion, you could comment or PM me for any clarifications. So thank you so much for listening. I hope you were able to finish up until this very end. And then I have here the instruction for your asynchronous activity. So for your asynchronous activity, everyone, you will write your own job application letter. And then for the instruction, look for any job hiring announcement in any sites. It may be from the billboard ads, newspapers, Facebook, and job hiring sites, etc. Take a picture or have a screenshot and write your job application letter out from the information of the announcement. Your output will be sent in a PDF file through my email right here. So I have here my email, jasminekimtanyeza@gmail.com. So the deadline is May 14. We have the format in sending your output. So for the page 1, as you can see, you have your name, grade section, date, schedule, and the picture or the screenshot of the hiring announcement. And then for the second page, your application letter. So when you're writing your application letter, everyone, so we have here the sample format of your output. For the first page, we have indicate your name, the grade and section, the date, and then a schedule, and also the picture of your or the screenshot of the job hiring announcement. And then for the for the second page, your application letter. Okay, so I guess that's the end of our recorded discussion for today. I hope you are learning, and I also hope that you finish the discussion up until this very end. Been Jasmine Kim Tanyaza, your class facilitator. So let's call it a day. Thank you so much. Goodbye.